Nothing betrays Pete Hegseth's profound ignorance of the military, even though he is ex-military. He apparently didn't learn anything. So he stands in front of all these assembled senior officers, the military leaders, and he talks about how we need to revert back to physical standards that basically favor white males, with the insistence that everybody else, including women, match up to these standards. But he simply can't wave a hand and declare new standards in place. When Hegseth says he's changing the physical fitness standards for the military, he's changing the training requirements. So the military has already done a ton of studies on physical fitness and what's required to perform in combat. So all these studies have been done, but now that Hegseth wants to change the requirements or revert the requirements back to like the early requirements in the military in the early 1960s, what he's basically doing is requiring the military to make more studies. The generals are not just simply going to go back to their offices and say, okay, our training standards have changed, implement them. No, they're going to have to do studies to meet the requirements both of Hegseth and of this generation of young people. So all these studies are going to have to be done in order to advise the military how to conform to the standards that Hegseth wants. So we're looking at least 2 to 3 years, maybe longer, to get these studies done. There's going to have to be funding allocated. There's going to have to be personnel hired or assigned. There's going to have to be protocols worked out. There's going to be test subjects or training subjects that will be undergoing both short-term and long-term tests or studies on the effects of physical fitness on military performance. So we're looking at least 2 to 3 years for that. Then the new training requirements, well, actually the new standards will then have to be written. And then from that, we will need to generate the training curriculum that is needed to meet these new physical fitness requirements, these retro requirements. And that could be another year, maybe more, to be done, because it's got to go through committees. It has to go through review processes. There has to be input from other departments, other branches of the military, before these standards are fully written. And then they have to develop the training curriculum. You bring the newbies in, you're going to start them out gradually. I know it may not seem like it, but I've been through basic training, and yes, they started us out gradually. So, they then, once they put the training curriculum together, they then have to train the personnel to administer this new training curriculum. And so we are already well beyond Trump's second term of office. if, for example, Trump gets into a third term of office, it could very well be that we won't see these new physical fitness standards imposed and implemented throughout the military until possibly the end of Trump's third term. Plus, I don't necessarily expect the senior military to get behind this. Training standards have already been developed. They are working. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I would not be surprised if the senior military leaders kind of slow walk Hegseth's physical fitness requirements. Hegseth can point a finger and say, "Go, my people, go forth and do this." And so the senior military leaders are going to go, "Yes, sir." And they will then do as Hegseth says, but they will do it very slowly. This will not be on the top of their priority lists. And so most likely they will assign this to staff members or junior aides to have them gain experience developing standards and devising training curriculums for their own commands. So it's not going to happen like tomorrow. We're looking at years down the road before we see any results at all.